Let's start today's video. So good morning. In the subject of engineering thermodynamics, today's lecture is basically based on equilibrium, quasi-static process, work done. That means thermodynamic work done, PDV work done, and a zeroth law of thermodynamics. So we will cover this topic in today's lecture. So let's start. So what is the thermodynamic equilibrium? Equilibrium, that means when there is zero unbalance. That means it is perfectly balanced. That condition we said it is in equilibrium. But when we talk about a thermodynamic equilibrium, so thermodynamic equilibrium, it is said when it satisfies three conditions of equilibrium. If any system satisfies these three conditions of equilibrium, then we said that it is under thermodynamic equilibrium. Even a single equilibrium is not satisfied, then it is not under thermodynamic equilibrium. So what are these three equilibrium conditions? So first is mechanical equilibrium. When we are talking about a mechanical equilibrium, that means it is related to unbalanced force. So if I am saying any system is in mechanical equilibrium, that means its opposing force and applied force are exactly same and they are balanced by each other. So there will be no movement. Why? Because it is perfectly balanced. So if there is unbalance, that means suppose applied force is more than your opposing force. So your movement will be in the direction of applied force. If your opposing force is more than your applied force, then your movement will be backward. That means in a direction of opposing force. So if any system is in mechanical equilibrium, that means there is zero unbalanced force. Whatever be the forces, number of forces acting on that system, they are balanced by each other and your system experience zero unbalanced force. I am saying zero unbalanced force. It doesn't mean there is no force acting on the system. There are number of forces acting on the system, but they are balancing each other. So unbalanced force is zero. For example, suppose regarding mechanical equilibrium, suppose one force is acting towards right and that force having a value suppose 5 Newton. Second force acting towards left and having intensity of force 10 Newton. So what is the direction of motion? So higher force will pushes back and your motion will be in this direction. But whether this motion will be according to 10 Newtons or the difference of these two forces. Anyone, please reply. Whether your
Difference.
force is
Difference.
10 Newton or difference of these two forces.
5 Newton.
5 Newton. That is the difference, correct? Why the movement is not according to 10? Because already 5 Newton is balanced by your opposing force. So unbalanced is only 5. So this unbalanced 5 Newton force actually acting on any body, and due to this unbalanced force, your motion is towards left. That means in a direction of unbalanced force. If both side same amount of force is there, so your system is experiencing both the forces, but unbalanced force is zero. So we can say that system is in mechanical equilibrium. So remember the single sentence, that is when unbalanced force is zero, then system is in mechanical equilibrium. Second equilibrium is thermal equilibrium. So there should be no temperature difference between system and surrounding, or within a system. Within a system, suppose our classroom is there or any lab is there, and in a lab at one corner there is a furnace. So that corner having higher temperature than other corners. So within that system, within that lab itself, there is a different temperatures. Furnace zone having higher temperature and the other zones are at lower temperature. So we can't say this is in thermal equilibrium. When complete class having the same temperature, that means within a system, everywhere same temperature is attained, then we can say classroom is under thermal equilibrium. But this is not the only case. When classroom as a system we said in thermal equilibrium, so it should be at the same temperature as the surrounding. So if I put a thermometer inside the class and one thermometer outside the class, and both the thermometers showing the same temperatures, that means I can say there is thermal equilibrium. Otherwise, if there is no thermal equilibrium, what happens? Heat transfer takes place. The basic driving force for heat transfer. Why the heat transfer from one end to second end? Only because of temperature difference. So higher temperature zone to lower temperature zone, heat will transfer. So we said system is under thermal equilibrium when system and surrounding maintaining the same temperature, there is no temperature difference. So temperature difference will be zero. That case we said it is under thermal equilibrium. So this is second condition. And third condition, chemical equilibrium. So there should not be unbalanced chemical reactions taking place. Suppose there are two chemicals which are reacting each other, and you kept as a system, and both chemicals are reacting each other and forming a third gas or composition. So we can't say it is under equilibrium. Suppose one system having a water as well as air, just like our water tank. But water remain as it is water, air remain as it is air. They are not reacting with each other. So we can say water and air forming a chemical equilibrium condition because they are remain same. There is no chemical changes. So when we said chemical equilibrium is there, when we said thermal equilibrium is there, when we said mechanical equilibrium is there, so when any system satisfied these three equilibrium condition, then we said the system is under thermodynamic equilibrium. If any equilibrium condition fails, then the system is not under thermodynamic equilibrium. So basically three requirements are there. Then only you can say it is under thermodynamic equilibrium. So mechanical, which is related to unbalanced force, thermal, which is related to temperature difference, and chemical equilibrium, which is related to compositions. Now the next, irreversible process. As the name suggested, it is not possible to reverse it. Many times we observe that, especially when you are playing any video. So you can reverse it. Forward and reverse buttons are there. So when you reverse it, so there will be no traces left behind. It is simply reverse. There is no traces left behind on the environment or system. But most of the processes are irreversible. So what is that irreversible process? Suppose there is one cylinder and we entrapped a gas. So I again started. Suppose there is one cylinder and a gas is there, and with the help of piston, we are compressing that and applying a load so that the pressure is maintained, and due to that load, complete gas is compressed to very small volume. Now imagine if I remove that weight, what happens? So suppose this is our first condition, initial condition, and piston becomes steady. That means whatever be the load force and whatever be the compression force, they are balancing each other. So piston cannot move further, nor not in a downward direction and nor in an upward direction. It is steady. That's why we can say it is right now in mechanical equilibrium. Both the applied and opposing force are balanced. And we can say this is a state. Why state? Because at this condition, the system property having definite values, some definite pressure, definite volume, definite temperature. So we can say it is a state. So if I am going to plot on PV diagram, so suppose pressure is P1 and volume is V1. So I can locate this condition as a dot, as a point. So this state is a point function. Why point function? Because I can locate this particular state as a point. Now imagine if I remove the weight. So as soon as I remove the weight, the compressed gas try to expand, and it will expand till again balance condition reach. Balance condition, that means piston self weight and expansion force, where it is going to balance, that position your piston going to be a steady. And again we experience a state 2, where again your system having some definite value of its property. So we can say state 2. State 2, pressure is reduced because it is expanded and volume is increased. So state 2, lower pressure, higher volume. So at the initial we can measure what is the conditions of system. At the end we can measure what is the condition of the system. But during the process, we can't say it is in balance condition. It is in equilibrium condition. It is in transition state. From state 1 to state 2, it is in transition state. So we can't predict what is the exact property at each fraction of second. And imagine, suppose I put the load again. So it is not sure it will follow the same path. It will reach to the same initial condition P1, V1, but it is not sure that it will follow the same path. So during expansion, after each fraction of second, whatever be the condition of this system, during loading and compressing the air, same condition will be there. We can't predict it. So that kind of process which is not possible to reverse, that means when expanding it is following some different path, during compressing it is following some different path, it is not following the same path. So we say it is irreversible process. And whenever you are showing irreversible process, show by dotted line. So when I put this load on piston again, so its initial condition P2 V2, after final compression it will reach to P1 V1. That means state will be same, but no one say that the state 2 to state 1 will be followed by the same path. It might be possible it is following the different path. It is following the different path. But final state, final result will be the same. It will reach to state 1, but it is not following the same path during compression. So we are saying these are the irreversible process, and there are number of factors. When we are compressing, heat rises. That rise in heat deliberate to outside surrounding. When it is expanding, same amount of heat is not extracting from surrounding. तो नॉर्मली जो बाइसिकल का पंप होता है, अगर आप उसको पंपिंग करो और बाद में अगर उसके पाइप को टच करके देखो तो इट इज हीटेड. क्यों? क्योंकि आपने जो एयर कॉम्प्रेस किया है, सो ड्यूरिंग कॉम्प्रेशन हीट जनरेट हो गई और उस हीट की वजह से वो पाइप भी गर्म हो गया है. तो जैसे मैं इसको एयर को कॉम्प्रेस करूंगा तो हीट जनरेट होगी, हीट इससे सराउंडिंग के बाहर चली जाएगी. लेकिन जब एक्सपांड होगा तो उतनी अमाउंट में हीट सराउंडिंग से अंदर नहीं आएगी. सो देयर इज नो परफेक्ट reversible path. So we are saying irreversible process. Now, what is reversible process? So reversible process, if you want to follow the reversible process, it is said quasi-static. Quasi-static, that means it is divided in infinitely small number of steps. Then only it is possible to get a reversible process in a broad manner. Suppose we having one cylinder, same example, same gas and same amount of weight, but this time I cut off that weight into small segment. For the illustration, I just showing the 3 segment of that weight, and combinedly these 3 segment, the weight is equal to the previous weight, that is a single weight. Now in this case, suppose I try to plot again PV diagram. So initial condition P1 V1, I can plot on PV, that is state 1. But this time I divided that load into infinite number of segment, and when one segment of weight is removed, what happened? Your gas will expand as one segment of weight is removed. So that expansion will be according to the weight removed out, and again your piston will settle down to some specific definite value of property, suppose PAVA. So we can say system follow P1 to PA, V1 to VA. So this is state A. Next time, suppose I remove second plate of weight. So again your system will expand accordingly. And now it is settled to pressure PB and volume VB. We can plot on PV diagram. And at last I am removing the last segment of plate. So it will expand to the final state, which is achieved by our previous example also, because that weight is divided into small segment, but total addition of weight is equal to your single weight. So that means your final state and initial state are same, but as I divided all the weights into small infinitely segments, so each segment as I remove, your system little bit expand and reach to equilibrium condition. Once it reach to equilibrium condition, again I remove second segment of weight, it reach to second equilibrium condition, third equilibrium condition. Likewise, it will follow one particular path from initial state 1 to state 2. Now imagine if I put each segment in turn again. Suppose first small segment of weight, if I put here, so it will compress air from P2 V2 to only PB VB. So one segment will compress up to this. So again it reach to equilibrium condition at PB VB. If I add second segment of weight, then it will compress air or that gas to PAVA. Again it will reach to equilibrium condition. Then if I add the last segment of weight, then it will compress this gas and reach to your initial state P1 V1. So the process is following the same path. During expansion, P1 PA PB P2. During compression, P2 PB PA P1. That's mean it is following the same path. So it is called irreversible process. And to achieve this, your system process or path should be divided into infinitely small segments. Then only it is possible. Because after each segment, it will restore its equilibrium condition with system and surrounding. So each infinite fraction of second, when your system and surrounding reach to equilibrium condition during forward motion and during reverse motion, backward motion, if the same path is followed, then only the process is possible to be a reversible. And reversible process shown by dark line there. So got it? To be a reversible process, your system should follow infinitely small steps. Then only it is possible to have or achieve a reversible. Otherwise, practically all processes are irreversible process, because during its path, it is not reached to each and every segment, each and every fraction, or you can say infinitely steps, small steps. If it is not reached to equilibrium condition at every each layer, every each instant, then it can't be a reversible. So this is the difference between reversible and irreversible. So reversible is only possible when we divide your path into small segments, infinitely small segment. Then only it is possible to be get reversible. Now the thermodynamic work. We know the work, but when we are saying any equipment, any instrument performing a thermodynamic work, so what it means? Suppose there is a fan. So if anyone asking you, fan really doing a thermodynamic work? Definitely it is doing mechanical work. If you supply electric energy and it will rotate, so definitely it is providing a mechanical work. But whether that fan is able to do thermodynamic work, so how to identify whether any equipment is doing a thermodynamic work or not? So remember, to check any equipment, any system doing thermodynamic work or not, so the basic condition is that system should be able to pull load. If that system is able to pull load, then we can say it is performing thermodynamic work. Now I am checking for fan. So this fan, whether this fan is performing thermodynamic work or not. So what I did, I replaced this fan blade and put one pulley. And on that pulley, I just attach one weight. And again, I switch on the fan. So what happened? Pulley rotates and your weight is get lifted with the help of rope. So any equipment which is able to do this, when its output will be a lifting of weight, then we can say that system performing thermodynamic work. So thermodynamic work is an interaction between the system and the surrounding, and the work is said to be done by the system on the surrounding if the complete external effect is lifting up of the body. So कोई भी system है, कोई भी fan है, even though suppose electric bulb is there. So whether electric bulb producing thermodynamic work, because electric bulb get heated, so we can say there is a heat, okay. But whether it is producing thermodynamic work, no. Why? Because its sole external effect will not be a lifting of weight. So we can't say it producing a thermodynamic work. And work is always considered as positive when work is produced by system on surrounding. If surrounding producing work on the system